Whoop, hey there YouTube, Run the Rogue Man here. This is the Rogue Zone. What are we going to go ahead and do here today? Well, if you're unfamiliar with the channel, for the past couple videos, I've been talking about deck, profiles and replays, about 3 decks I really love that are getting support in the near future. So we're going to go ahead and talk about something else today. We're going to talk about cards I loathe. Cards for whatever reason that may be. I just can't stand to look at them. They're ugly. They're ugly faces, man. It makes me sick. Makes me sad. Makes me all that much sad. So yeah, we're going to talk about some YuGiOh cards. And
no sir, I don't like them.
That may be due to design flaws. Maybe they're overwhelming. Maybe they're underwhelming. Maybe they just stink and they need to take a shower. Maybe they need to go ahead and before they go to the YCS, take a bath. So yeah, let's get into it. These cards are not in any particular order, but yeah, let's begin with number 10.
Number of the day is 10.
So for number 10, we have here a Moray of Avarice. So now you're probably wondering, why do I hate Moray of Avarice? Well, you see, I often like to think of the duality of the TCG, right? Sometimes it's, it can rear its head in strange ways and appear as an actual bias, I guess you could say. When I say bias, I mean that literally, because look at a card like Garura, right? So Garura is a pretty simple card. It's subtle. A fusion card, but the thing is, it's materials. Fusion decks have access to a card, a pretty powerful that, a quick play skill that cannot be answered to, right? That can eat almost any board. So what Garura represents is that no deck is safe. Your board is not safe at any moment in time. It could be like your investment in Bitcoin gone, completely gone, and you don't know why it's gone, but it was there one moment, now it's not there, and nope, so much for your luck. So now, opposite side of that spectrum, we have a card like Moray of Avarice, a normal spell card that banishes an Atlantean to draw 2 cards. Those who are unfamiliar with me and my channel, Atlanteans are what I like to call fish, aqua, and sea serpents. Like how the Beastie Boys are the beasts, wing beasts, and beast warriors, and wing beasts themselves have wing requital. Well, Atlanteans of Moray of Avarice. You're probably thinking, this card sounds great, Ron. What do you mean? This is a good card. You're getting a draw 2. Oh my god, it's a good. No, the card is horrible. It sucks. So what makes this card bad is that if you look closely at it, it says you have to control the monster to then banish it to get the draw, right? So instead of just going on a standard neutral and calling it a day, the TCG decided to turn this into jump through some hoops and then maybe I'll give you a -1. That's the best I can do for you, a -1. Because you have to control the monster, meaning that you have to give up your normal summon most likely to do it. Like yo, these go through teams of people, right? I'm 1000% sure these go through teams of people, and no one thought that, hey, this is probably a bit too balanced and it's going to be underwhelming. I mean, Goatee, not even Goatee, a deck that once its cards banished can really utilize this card as a consistency card. This card is just a straight up win more, and at least Desire's Senators of Chinging for Pete's sake, right?
Hey, I'll take a number 9, fat boy.
So for number 9, we have Frodai, the Boss of Swords. Another that I love, come on, you can see it right there. Generators is a deck I really love, and to say they have a few bad cards is sadly kind of an understatement. And one of these bad cards is Frodai, right? So what does she do? So this is how I imagined the devs or the card designers in Konami. What a beautiful day to be a generator fan. Hey, Frank, how are those new generator cards coming along? Amazing, sir. I gotta tell you, I'm currently designing the boss for Elfheim, Frodai, the Boss of Swords. Let me tell you, it's a cool card. She does a lot of things. So what exactly does she do? Well, you see, sir, she tributes any number of generator cards, then destroys this amount of cards on the field, right? What do you think about that? Wow, that's sick. But the opponent draws a card. Say what now? Yes, sir, the opponent draws a card. Yep. There it is. Just what I expect you to do. I hear you make a good card, and then out of nowhere you come with some out-of-pocket, some unnecessary out-of-pocket thing to make this card whack as hell. But sir, it's wiping your board. Come on, you can't just allow the opponent to wipe the other guy's board for Raigeki. Before you even finish the sentence, Raigeki, a card released in 2002 that does the same thing with no cost, that is not attached to a level 9 brick, that can't even summon itself. Oh my god. Why? Why do you do things like this? Why can't you be normal? What? So yeah, Frodai, I don't know why they thought that it would be a case where, you know, YuGiOh players would be fine with activating this effect, destroying 2 cards, and then giving my opponent potentially 4 cards in hand to go ahead and attempt to beat me anyway. So yeah, I know they're bored, but they're drawing 4 cards to play the game to do something anyway. Insects together strong. So for number 8, we have another deck that I really do love. You know, if you're a fan of the channel, you know that this is also another of my next favorite decks. We have one of the heaviest of boys, Heavy Bee Trooper Mighty Neptune.
Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick ass boy.
Something funny is that the entirety of Bee Trooper's second wave support could be on this list. Like, the entirety of that second wave could make up half this list. Why am I happy about that? I don't know, but I'm just letting you know. I chose to go with Mighty Neptune specifically due to how tedious and patronizing the effect feels. The design feels for this card. Right, so most of the Bee Troopers or insects in general for the second support do nothing. They do nothing, and I'm not even joking. All they do is just special summon themselves, and some of them don't even do that. Some of them just be on the board and be insect bodies. That's it. Why in the 6-lid freaks in clean sneaks does this card only float in the main phase? Like, why? It can only shuffle insects from the main deck and can't recur extra deck insects. Was that really necessary, Konami? Like, it's these unneeded minute details to cards that make me really just feel upset. You know, it's it's cards like these that it's why they put me in the asylum in the first place. But you know, I'm better now. I don't want to go back to that place, you know. But yeah, just imagine if I was to find that person, befriend them, and then just take them out to my cabin in the woods for nothing crazy, you know, just a thought. But you know, I don't want to go back to that awful place. But at the same time, the card design like this, man, just makes me a little, you know, kooky. And since I don't want to go back to that place, you know, I can get my alibis thought out, my information set up, my plans to flee the country put in place, so that I don't have to go back to that place. Just hog tie them and get the barrels of acid prepared. But that's a thought, you know, just thought, you know, ignore me. Then this deck is supposed to be a beatdown deck, right? Which is, I think the deck's gimmick is about to, you know, be a beatdown deck. I can't even talk. A beatdown deck, and the effect to boost another insect monster only happens in the end phase. Konami, come on, you just make me feel like I just wanna. Sorry, right? I apologize for hurting your eardrums, but Konami, please just stop with the unnecessary gatekeeping of cards, please. No one's asking for that.
Number 7, she put that thing right on my face and then she farted. It smelled like my mom's tuna casserole.
So number 7 is the first cards, because you know I'm giving 2 cards a slot, is the first set of cards on the list that I don't like because of their, you know, overpowering of the cards, or basically oversaturation of the cards. And these cards would be Kashtira Ariseheart and Kashtira Ariseheart. So yeah, once more, the thing is, right, you give a custom card, like a card you like, you give a card that you like, 3 effects, and clowns on the internet will come to you and say, that card is overtuned. And then Konami makes a card that special summons itself, banishes a card from the deck as cost, to then banish 3 cards from your deck, and then becomes level 7. And that same TCG dude will go, oh, I don't see a problem here. What problem are you talking about? I see nothing. I saw nothing. I feel like cards like these just raise the bar of what level 4 monsters can be, right? Then we have Ariseheart, literally a macrocosmos with legs. Just shuts off, specific cards like, any card that has to activate by sending itself to the graveyard as cost. Ariseheart just shuts that down. No, we did not allow you to do that. So that's a pretty strong effect on its own. And then it's interruption. Like, it can just slurp up cards and when they're banished, and then detach 3 cards to banish something. Right? That's pretty strong. And if you're wondering why, so I know that D-Fissure and Macrocosmos are unlimited, but do I really need to tell you why a Macrocosmos in the extra deck that has interruptions is strong? Like, do I really have to tell you why this card is just
strong for no reason?
Number 6 is a slot to multiple cards. Cards that just need to go. Konami, it was fun while it lasted. Not for me though. But for anybody who played this deck, sure, it was fun for you while it lasted. But these cards need to go. This is not okay. So you're gonna mill 5 cards from my deck, no problem. You're milling 5 cards from your deck also? Okay, that's cool. Oh nice, look! You milled cards from my deck that I want in the graveyard. Haha, thanks. You're putting all my advantageous cards into the deck. Well, wait, whoa, you're putting all my advantageous cards back into the deck, and then you're leaving my combo pieces in the graveyard? Hold on. You're essentially killing my strategy here. How am I supposed to play the game? Hey, wait, what? I genuinely think that tier was completely fine. Hot take, but I personally think that Tearlaments was fine before the YuGiOh cards came out, right? But now, honestly, they're just actually unpunishable. Because if I use 3 cards to stop my opponent, but because my opponent has access to mill 5 cards from the top of their deck, to essentially potentially mill 5 more, and in tandem mill 10 cards from my deck, I don't think that's okay. And these cards just, from a design standpoint, just need to go. Come on, hit them up behind the shed and just give them what they deserve. Please, I'm begging you, please. YuGiOhs are not cool. This is not a ban list video, by the way. For the next one, we have triple tactics tasking. More localized as thrusting. Thrust. You're paying $17 for a guy to give you a thrust. I don't know about that one, but yeah. So, hold on guys, I'm just going to look for something real quick, alright? Just a moment please. Hold on guys, I'm looking for something, alright? Hold on guys, hold on. It's gotta be here somewhere. Would you look at that guys? I can't seem to find it. I can't seem to find who asked for 6 copies of Raigeki, Slumber, and Darker Than No More. 7 copies of their Fuse Spell, 6 copies of Rite of Irmisir.
And don't forget, now we have 4 copies of Instant Fusion.
Who asked for this? We've ascended past Power Cube at this point. Right now, we're power jogging. Like, I have more problem with this card design than anything. Cards like this just give boost to all the top decks. So all the top decks get a boost by proxy. So yeah, my little Thunder Patrol going second deck has access to all these cards now, but what about the decks that are already at the top? They just got better, right? So as much as this, I'm not being fair. I'm probably being a hypocrite, because like I said, I do play this in my, Thunder Patrol going second list. So maybe I'm a hypocrite, But at the end of the day, you know what? Search the out. Since you're all complaining so much, search the out. Shut up. Stop complaining about it.
Face the wrath of number 4 go!
But you know what's worse than power creep? There's something far worse than power creep. Something more dreaded. Something that dwells in the sewers. That waits for you to be asleep and slurps on your dreams and hopes. It's not really a card, but it's an ideology. Imagine this. It's a bright and sunny day. A beautiful day. Even what could make this day better, you ask? Well, imagine a deck you really love. A deck you hold so near and dear to your heart. Since you started playing this game, for bad or for good, you cherished this deck. This theme, right? You go on the internet, you see something. A surge of dopamine hits your brain. You can't believe it. You thought your deck was forgotten by Konami. You go online and see that the Konami has breathed new life into your archetype. A card of support. You can't believe it. It's magical. Boom! Psych! Reality. Instead of a card, it's a pack filler. Huh? A card that literally does nothing. It literally does nothing. It doesn't help any deck. It's just pack filler. Nothing is done. Well, maybe I guess there's somebody out there who wanted to know what happened to Goblin Kid, right? So for those guys, here you go. Goblin Kid lore, I guess. I don't know. But you know, instead of giving slight buffs to, you know, existing archetypes over time, Konami would rather give you cards like this, I guess. You know, it is what it is. You know, imagine the game we'd have if every single archetype in the game over time slowly got support.
Third time's a charm.
We are going to go ahead and go over the opposite side of that spectrum. So from having no support at all, we have cards like this. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon for number 3. Once again, it's not really directly Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, it's more what Red Eyes Dark Dragoon represents. So this is one of the categories of being overtuned. But no one cares because, you know, Konami did it, right? So the thing with Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is, I'm not even mad that it's a strong card, because no matter what, what I am upset about though is that Dragoon is a monument to what boss monsters could be in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? I'm aware that this card wasn't really played in its own deck, but that was because of different reasons, right? Just because of a mistake a planned, very terrible idea, and that card now is banned. So yeah, imagine if every deck had a boss monster designed to this level. Not saying that they all have to be negates, you know, right? But let's just say that they're exceptional cards. B-Trooper Invincible Atlas is a decent boss monster. Could it be better? Yes, but for its deck, it's pretty okay. We have decks like, for example, Tear, Atignister, Sword Soul. The difference between their boss monsters and a boss monster like Invincible Atlas is that you don't really want to end on Invincible Atlas, cause for one, it insect locks you. And being insect locked is not the best thing in the world. Not much insects to really play off with being insect locked, right? A Rifle Atignister, Rukalos, and the Chenging, or for example, Chishing, you want to actually end on those cards. Those are great boss monsters. Now look at boss monsters like, you know, for insects and for generators, right? Look at Yermungandr. Generators are that's literally based around boss monsters, like final bosses, because it's a game, and it's just terrible. All around, I think that, you know, as I reiterate, Dragoon is just a testament of what boss monsters could be like in Yu-Gi-Oh! But for some reason, it's just not expert enough. I don't know what to say. I'm a bit confused as you.
Which leads me to my second rule, the double tap.
For this one, for this slot, it's a case where, why don't you make cards that synergize Konami? How many Konami stuff do you think it takes to make a card actually work inside its archetype and be synergistic with its own archetype? I guess 50, because they can't do it. So for number 2, we have Ruby Zep. Ruby of the Goatee. Goatee, a literature major's conversational icebreaker, right? But in Yu-Gi-Oh, a deck about fish, but in space. It has a cool gimmick like Christian's, but good, and some amazing artwork. The issue is that some cards are great and others are...
This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
And you know, which is kind of Goatee's problem. It's too fair. Ruby is a prime example of that. It's so fair, it's underwhelming, unfortunately, right? So what's the issue with Ruby? So Zep, I'll give you 5 seconds to look at this card and tell me what my issue is. Did you see it? Well, on my first impression of this card, right, for all of us, everybody in the Goatee community thought that it had the effect to special summon itself in the opponent's turn at any point in time, right? At any point in time, as long as it's banished, it can special summon itself. That was such a good idea. But no! Konami being, Konami, apparently there was a mistranslation. So instead of having a great tool that we could use to play around board breakers or the battle phase, which is also Goatee's biggest weakness, because if your opponent summons a monster over 500 attack, you're pretty much losing your ability to synchro summon on their turn. So because of one comma being in the wrong place, our little red boy is just not that good, unfortunately, right? So yeah, and the funny thing is, the original effect of Zep wasn't even that groundbreaking. Like I said, all it really did was allow us to not play into board breakers like Dark Color No More and Droplets. But I guess we can have nice things. We apparently can't have nice things.
His hat, Mr. Krabs. He was #1.
So you know what's worse than not getting your card at all? Or what's worse than Konami patronizing you with card filler? Let's go ahead and reference number 4 immediately, right? So this is a different timeline, right? This is a different slimy timeline. In this universe, your deck was actually supported. Oh my gosh, no pack filler? Right, it's a fantastic time to be alive, right? You're actually getting your support. It's not a dream. Before this, you were on the brink of exiting this hollow existence, but the YuGiOh overlords have blessed you with something to keep you going, a sword to keep a fight going against this hard living. You read the card effects, it's perfect. Its effects and materials are completely generic and open for abuse. Panic. You see the card in almost every deck online. Hold on. People online are complaining about the card and they want it banned. You see it on every YouTuber's ban list wish list. Ban list is out. You're reading. Your heart is beating. You're pacing. You're sweating. You look. You're scrolling down. You see where it says forbidden. And there you see it. Your casual, slightly competitive heart stops in your chest. There you see it. The card that made your deck so much better. A card that maybe didn't take your deck out of obscurity, but it made you have fun, even in a casual level. Banned. Gone.
No! No! Please no! 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 No!
You waited 5 years for a card that was banned in 3 months. Just like that, like nothing ever happened. Christian Halki Fibrax, Union Carrier, Predator Plant Verti Anaconda, Simorg Bird of Sovereignty. You spent your hard-earned money on these cards. You were glad to see them. You were so happy to watch them in your deck. To think that, yes, finally, I have a card that my deck can play to make it better. And now it's gone, just like that. And what do all these cards have in common? They were unnecessarily generic. Christian could have either needed 2 machine monsters, or could have just needed, 2 Christians, or could only summon Christians, tuners from the deck. But Union Carrier could have just worked with only Union monsters and only equip Union monsters to other monsters. It is what it is, I guess. So what do? You think what do you expect? Like, do you think YuGiOh players to not abuse things? Like I said, you waited 9 years for a card that was banned in 3 months. And what is hurtful is that these cards won't be errataed, because Konami looks down upon errataing cards. You know, instead of fixing them so that the casual fan base could have access to their card that, you know, they want to play, they just leave them in a state of being purgatory. Like, I get it. I get that you want your cards to be generic to, you know, encourage creative deck building, but your player base is full of degenerates and will use it for whatever broken reason that they can, and if it's going to make them win, they're going to use it. You expect this person to be normal? Come on, Konami. Then you crouch on the ban list to sweep your rubbish under the rug and forget about it. If you're going to make cards like these generic, stop putting archetypal name tags on them and making your fans think that, oh, we finally got support. Oy vey, Konami. Oy vey. So yeah, that was the 10 cards, or I guess you could say things about cards I don't like. I'll probably make a follow-up to this video about 10 cards or 10 things I like about cards. You know, at some point in time. I can't really tell you when. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Keep safe from me, alright? The Rogue Man loves you. We out here. We don't fear.